Hello everybody. So in this session we are going to talk about satire as a form of poetry because satire can be a form of not just poetry, it can be a form of novel or prose or essay like that. So today we are going to talk about satire as being a form of poetry. So in this session we'll be also looking at an introduction on satire, the origin and development of satire over the period of time, and we'll be also talking about how a good satire should be, because over the period of time some writers have taken it as a tool to attack others while this should not be. So we'll be also talking about how a satire should be, and we'll be also talking about some of the important satires written in English. So let's begin with the introduction. Now this is a literary form or a form of literature that may be used in prose, poetry, drama or novel. So it can be used in any of these. So if you look at satire in common, it is just a literary form. While if you look at satire being used in poetry, then we can you also say as it is being a form of poetry. If a poetry is completely written using satire, then so the term satire refers to a literary composition in which vice, folly or a foolish person is held up to ridicule. So the aim or the motto of writing a satire is to point out the vice and folly in the society. So it can be by pointing out the foolish person in the society, just to make people aware of the bad deeds that they're doing, and so that they'll be able to correct it in the future. So let's look at the origin and development of a satire. Now, satire originated in Greece, but as a literary form, it was invented by the Romans. So the inventor of satire as a characteristics form was the Latin writer Gaius Lucilius. So there are three types of inventions coming up. So even though it originated in Greece, it was formed into a literary form by the Romans, and satire as a characteristic form was being done by Gaius Lucilius, a Latin writer. So let's see how a satire should be. A good satire should be without malice or vengeance. So uh, while writing a satire, one should make sure that it should not attack somebody. So that's what is meant here. A good satire should be without malice or vengeance. It should not be out of mere revenge to write so that they can attack somebody else. Now, it should be meant to ridicule and not abuse. A good satire should be meant to ridicule it and not abuse the society or a person in the society and so on. So, it is simply meant to be ridiculed, to evoke laughter among the audience. So, this exposes follies and vices of their age. So, writers usually used it in such a sense that it exposed the vices and follies of their age, so that we are now, when we are reading the works of writers, we come to know about the vices and follies of that particular period of time. While in the later literary form of satire, while the latest literary form of satire is essay. So we know that satire is a literary form in general, and it can be included under prose or poetry or a drama or novel. And the latest form of literary work that emerged in satire is essay. So, if you look at the first satirist in English literature, then we find that he is none other than Chaucer, the father of English language itself. So, he was the one who actually introduced satire in English literature, even though maybe he did not meant to be writing it in satire, but we find that his works are satirical in nature. Let's look at the Canterbury Tales or the other works that he wrote up. So everything was simply to bring out the societal concept at that particular period of time. We find that in the prologue to the Canterbury Tales, he talks about various characters and he also ridicules them to some extent. we are being presented with a monk who is being the exact opposite of somebody we find it today. So he has used it correctly to bring out the vices and follies of his age. So it was at that particular period of time when satire flourished in English, because Chaucer was using it in almost all his work. Then later on we find that in the classical age, when Pope and Johnson also started using them in their prose. So if you look at these writers, the social satires were more popular than the personal ones. So they were usually taking it to attack the society's bad deeds and not about a person in general. So if you look at some of the important satires being written, they are the Canterbury Tales by Chaucer, the Rape of the Lock by Pope, the Vanity of Human Wishes by Dr. Johnson, the Battle of Books by Jonathan Swift, and the Cocktail Party by T.S. Eliot. So this is all about satire. Thank you.